What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Once again, another Samsung Galaxy S10 comparison. Are you guys bored of these yet, bro? I think I do these more for myself than you guys. I don't know, maybe that's kind of selfish for me to say, but I'm just so engulfed into phones. I love technology so much that sometimes I just make videos. I know they're not even going to get any views. I just kind of want to see what the differences are between them. And I think that's a good thing, right? That's like whatever. We're going to be looking at the Samsung Galaxy S10 and comparing it to the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. Now, in my opinion, this is kind of surprising because obviously these are both the same phone by the same manufacturer, obviously different phones, but they're almost the same breed. In a lot of ways, the Samsung Galaxy S10 is obviously a much better phone. It's way more expensive now. It just got released way more features than the Samsung Galaxy S10, but there's some things that the Samsung Galaxy Note 5 has and some features that it's capable of that the Galaxy S10 does not have, and it's kind of a flip-flop here. I mean, obviously I would say if you had to choose one, get the Samsung Galaxy S10. It is a much better phone, but let's just kind of see how much better of a phone it is. You know, right now Galaxy Note 5s are selling for like less than $200. You can probably find one for even like $100 depending on the condition. Galaxy S10 was just released. They're selling for over almost $900, almost $1,000 for some variants. So let's go ahead and see what the differences are between these. Now, looking around the body, I'll tell you right now without a doubt, they are surprisingly almost feel exactly the same in the hands. Now, I will say on the front, the Galaxy S10 does feel a little bit better. The Samsung Galaxy Note 5 does have glass on the front, obviously glass on the back as well, so that kind of adds to the premiumness feeling. But one thing specifically about the Samsung Galaxy Note 5 is that for some reason the home button and that area around it, the front bezel, it just doesn't feel as premium as something compared to like a Samsung Galaxy S7 or even a Galaxy S8. I feel like those phones feel way better. The bezel around the screen of the Note 5 doesn't feel as good as newer phones with some bezel on it. And another thing, the home button on the front does have a fingerprint sensor on it, but like I've stated with the Galaxy S6 video, for a lot of phones that were released around this time, the home buttons and parts like that do tend to fail. I mean, this is pretty much predicated on almost every single phone out there. The Galaxy S10, at some point, the power button, the volume buttons are going to feel rocky and not fit in perfectly sometimes, but with the Galaxy Note 5, that's kind of already hit it. I mean, I probably hit that peak like 2 years ago. That's kind of one thing to keep in mind, that the home button on some variants do feel a little bit rocky and kind of decrease the premiumness feeling of the Galaxy Note 5, and that's common with a lot of used phones and older technology. Now, the Galaxy Note 5 came out in 2015 in August. Obviously, the Galaxy S10 just came out in February of 2019. So the Note 5 is almost 4 years old. It's going to be 4 years old this year. And I'll tell you, man, if we weren't going in this bezel-less trend, I probably wouldn't think the Galaxy Note 5 came out 4 years ago, honestly. Just the way it feels. It still feels like a kind of somewhat premium phone. Like I said, the home button kind of takes away from it, and the huge bezels and the way the bezel feels. But other than that, I don't think it's a horrible thing. The interesting thing, though, is that the Galaxy S10 in the hand is smaller, has a smaller footprint than the Galaxy Note 5. If you remember, the Note series phones used to be the biggest things ever with the huge screens, but now the S10 surprisingly has a bigger screen than the Galaxy Note 5. So the Note 5 had a 5.7-inch 1440p panel, where the Galaxy S10 has a 6.1-inch 1440p panel, and the pixels per inch are actually higher on the Galaxy S10 as well. And without a doubt, the Samsung Galaxy S10 has a much better display than the Galaxy Note 5. But here's the surprising thing. The Galaxy Note 5, in my opinion, still has a very, very nice display. As I've stated before, Samsung really knocked it out of the park with their displays, even around this era, when they switched from the Galaxy S5's 1080p panel with like the plastic build or weird to the Galaxy S6. Every single panel they've done after that was super sharp and very, very good looking. That's when they switched to the 1440p panels. And what I'll tell you is, without a doubt, the Galaxy Note 5's panel still holds up. It's still a very, very sharp panel. And if we're just looking at the panels, you probably won't tell a humongous difference looking at one to the other, but when you compare them side by side, there's a little bit of difference. The Galaxy S10's panel can get brighter, so that is a really cool thing. Another big thing is that the Galaxy Note 5 was not IP certified at all, so there was no IP certification. It was not waterproof. If you dipped it in water, it would most probably break at some parts or whatever. But the Galaxy S10 is IP68 dust and waterproof, so you can go 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. So that is a very cool thing, and that just shows a testament of how much phones have really progressed since even the Galaxy Note 5 era. Now, in terms of software, obviously the Galaxy Note 5 is done with software. It stopped on Android Nougat, and honestly, that wasn't the best place to stop at. Android Oreo, I think, was much better than Nougat, but with the Galaxy S10, obviously it just started. Like, it's going to get 3 more versions of Android, so that's really, really cool. But the Galaxy Note 5 does have a little bit of a development community behind it. You are able to root it and custom ROM it, so I would 100% recommend that. I think there's Android Pie ROMs out for it, but there's definitely Android Oreo ROM, so if you're planning on picking up a Galaxy Note 5, I would 100% recommend custom ROMing it. Even if you currently own one, you can unlock new features. Now, there's some features that are taken away with the custom ROM. I'll get into that in a second, but still I would rather always have a custom ROM phone that's unsupported with stock software from its original provider than have old outdated software with a phone that has the capability of having a custom ROM. So that's pretty much where I'm going to end that. In terms of software, obviously the Samsung Galaxy S10 wins this category, and another category that the Galaxy S10 wins is going to be performance, without a doubt. The Galaxy Note 5, I'll tell you the specs and I'll tell you the real world use. Specs are not everything. The Galaxy Note 5 had an Exynos 7420 octa chipset, an octa-core CPU, and 4 gigs of RAM, where the Galaxy S10 has the Exynos 9820 octa on some variants and a Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 on others, an octa-core CPU, an Adreno 640 GPU, and 8 gigs of RAM. And what I will tell you is, this is my personal opinion, I don't think I've ever felt a phone that was faster than the Galaxy S10. I've had the iPhone XS Max, I've had many iPhones throughout my day, I've had many Androids through my day as well. I don't think I've ever had a phone that was as fast as this phone, and even coming from a Galaxy S9, that phone was pretty fast. I'm not going to lie, the S9 Plus, I had that too. This phone is extremely fast, and I attribute that not only to the chipset and everything, but the RAM. 8 gigs is so much for a phone, and the fact that phones have like twice that amount of RAM is just insane to me. I don't know what you can do with all that RAM, but the funny thing is with the Galaxy Note 5, it has half that amount of RAM, and I don't think the performance on the Note 5 was extremely slow, but there were some times where the Note 5 would heat up sometimes. I didn't really see it being extremely slow, just animations were a little bit choppy. There were some glitched frames here and there. Gaming and everything wasn't exactly the best thing in the world, but it was still completely playable. You can play games and everything. But I would definitely say, man, there's no competition at all. Like, the Galaxy S10 wins without a doubt, but I don't think it's like 50 times as fast or anything. Obviously it is faster. It is noticeably faster as well. But honestly, like, you could probably still go through the Galaxy Note 5 performance for a little bit longer, as long as you're not jealous of the features that the Galaxy S10 has. I think the performance on the Note 5 is decent. If the Galaxy S10's performance was like a 10 out of 10, I would say the Galaxy Note 5 is probably like a 6.5 out of 10, maybe like a light 7 maybe. That's really pushing it. I think the fact that this phone does heat up a little bit and there's just glitched frames here and there, I think that has a lot to do with that score I gave it. But without a doubt, the Galaxy S10 is a worthwhile upgrade in terms of performance from the Galaxy Note 5. Now, in terms of the camera, okay, this is kind of interesting because yet again, the Galaxy S10 will win, but we're comparing a single sensor with the Note 5 to triple cameras on the Galaxy S10. And this is what I'll say. The Galaxy Note 5 had one 16 megapixel camera. You can shoot 4K videos on it, and I don't think it was a horrible camera. Even now, I think the Galaxy Note 5's camera is still pretty decent. I think it's still pretty good. It has quite a lot of features within that one camera, so that's awesome. Like I said, I don't think it's a horrible camera. I think it's obviously on the better side, even in 2019 standards. As long as you can shoot 4K, as long as the megapixel count is decently high, you can have optical image stabilization. Of course, megapixels aren't everything. It's still kind of somewhat important. I think it's a pretty decent camera, and it's still, it's not, pushing like top 10 cameras right now, but I don't think it's a horrible camera at all. Samsung does a really good job with their camera sensors, but flipping that to the newest one, obviously the Samsung Galaxy S10 is a way better camera sensor than the Galaxy Note 5. We have 3 cameras. We have 2 12 megapixel sensors and a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor. And that ultra wide sensor, I'll tell you right now, is going to be so awesome. I really hope more manufacturers start putting ultra wide photos in their phones, man. That's such a cool little feature, and it's somewhat underrated. I don't really see a lot of people talking about the ultra wide photos these things take. Now, me myself, I'm not a photographer. I don't really like talking about the cameras like every single second. I feel like every single reviewer just talks about the cameras. That's all they do. They like 75% of a video just talking about it. I feel like that's completely just a waste of time. Obviously, the Galaxy S10's camera is better. You can do 4K at 60 frames per second and a lot of other cool things. In terms of the front camera, the Galaxy Note 5 had a 5 megapixel camera. I don't really think it was that good on the front, I'll be honest. The Galaxy S10 has a 10 megapixel camera, and this camera is way better. You have that wide effect if you want it, or you can zoom into the photo whatever you want. And I personally do think the Galaxy S10's camera obviously is way better, not only just in terms of the front, but both camera sets, the back cameras and the front camera, are way better on the Galaxy S10 than on the Galaxy Note 5, but I think that's kind of expected. So really, that's pretty much it there. Now, this last thing I kind of want to hit on is the battery life, but here's the interesting thing. They both do have headphone jacks, which is interesting, but they both have 2 different charging ports. So the Galaxy Note 5 has a micro USB port, where the Galaxy S10 has the USB Type-C port. So a little bit of difference right there. Here's the interesting thing though. The Galaxy Note 5 has a 3000 mAh battery, The Galaxy S10 has a 3400 mAh battery, and just those specs in and of itself, you would probably think, oh, they're probably close in battery life, has a bigger, brighter screen, and it's more powerful, so you would think the Galaxy S10 would probably last as long as the Note 5. That is not the case. The Galaxy S10 will last far better than the Galaxy Note 5, and here's the reasoning. If you have the Galaxy Note 5 right now, or if you're planning on buying a used one, whatever, you cannot buy these new anymore unless someone just randomly has a new one and they're selling it. Most likely you're buying it used. The Galaxy Note 5's battery within it has definitely 100% depreciated as soon as you turn that thing on, okay? It's not at that full 3000 milliamp anymore. It's probably, like, if I had to put a number on it, 2500, maybe even like 2600, probably even less than that. It's definitely depreciated since its day, and that's kind of just a common thing with all batteries. It's not just a Samsung thing. The Galaxy S10 is going to have a depreciated battery at some point. So I'll definitely say in terms of the battery life, the Galaxy S10 will win 100%. The Galaxy Note 5, in my opinion, it just didn't have that good battery life. That size wasn't horrible. I mean, they could have definitely put a bigger battery size in it. They decreased it from the Note 4, which is so dumb. But I'll definitely say without a doubt the S10 wins here. They both have Qi wireless charging, but the Galaxy S10 has a super cool feature where you can do reverse wireless charging, which is so awesome. It's one of the very few phones out in the market right now that has that capability. So that's a very, very awesome thing. Shout out to Samsung for doing that. And that pretty much covers up the whole entire comparison. Now, some other notable things to note. They both have fingerprint sensors. Obviously, like I said, the Note 5 has that physical one on the front. The Galaxy S10 has an inbuilt fingerprint sensor in the screen, which is super sick. I love that thing so much. I don't think it's like completely 100% amazing just yet, but I feel like over time and more iterations, the next Galaxy S10 or like the S11 next year will have a much better fingerprint sensor as well. So really, really cool thing Samsung did there. They both have micro SD card slots, which is super cool. And the biggest feature, like I said earlier, that the Galaxy Note 5 has is the S Pen. That is something that the S10 does not have. The S Pen is super, super awesome. I like it a lot. I feel like over time it's slowly kind of being phased away. I don't know if Samsung's going to keep it in their phones forever, but I feel like that's the main like difference between the Notes and the S10s. It's like that physical, like stylus you can use, and I like the S Pen a lot. I wish every single phone had it, but that's one thing that's exclusive to the Notes, and I have so much respect for Samsung for putting that in there. So in one way, I see why the Note 5 is better, and it's because of the S Pen, but in literally every single other characteristic, the Galaxy S10 is definitely a worthwhile upgrade. So this is what I'll tell you. If you're on a super, super tight budget, I guess the Note 5 will do you fine. I mean, I probably still wouldn't recommend it. I would probably recommend a Google Pixel over the Note 5, or even like a Galaxy S8. Go pick up a Galaxy S8 or S8 Plus over the Galaxy Note 5. But the Galaxy S10 is definitely a very, very good phone. I don't know if it's 100% worth the money. I think it's still kind of expensive, especially when you have phones like the Galaxy S9 or S9 Plus, even the Galaxy Note 8 that are still selling for way less than the Galaxy S10, but are still super capable phones. So I'll leave some links in the description for a Galaxy S10 as well as a Galaxy Note 8, even a Galaxy S9 Plus if you want to pick it up. Every single sale that goes through those links actually helps out the channel. We can do more videos like this and more comparisons and more giveaways. We're still doing the iPhone SE giveaway. I have 2 more left. I'm picking one more winner this Sunday and then another one next week. So keep locked down on the channel so you guys don't miss those. But that is pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button. That'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it'll mean so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, all those links are linked down below. I would really appreciate if you guys could check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys, and hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.